Hello, and you're very welcome to a special Irish Independent All-Ireland Hurling Final Review with thanks to AIB. I'm Michael Verney, joined by a tip man, and a very, very happy tip man. What an unbelievable second half. It finished 327 to 118, joined by Niall McIntyre here. Just first things first, Niall, as a tip man, forget about, your journalistic integrity and all that. How do you feel? What an unbelievable achievement for Tipp, their 29th All-Ireland.
Yeah, I think unbelievable is the word, Michael. I suppose the second half there, I found it just hard to believe nearly at different stages, like the way Cork only scoring 2 points, hit the post probably 3 times, and everything just seemed to go Tipperary's way. You probably couldn't have wrote it better from a Tipperary point of view, with Noel McGrath getting the point with the last puck of the game. I think so. Just incredible, and a very sweet one for Tipperary.
It could be one of the sweetest yet, and it could be one of the hardest one yet when you think about who you've beaten. Drew at Limerick first day out, 6 in a row, Munster champions. Went down to Clare, put out the All-Ireland champions. All-Ireland semi-final, beat the 6 in a row Leinster champions. All-Ireland final, beat the league and Munster champions. It doesn't really get much better than that.
I don't think so. They've come through some amount of difficult battles.
And Niall, last year they didn't get out of Munster, and they're All-Ireland champions 14 months later.
It's incredible. And I suppose we all remember last year losing to Cork by 18 points that day in Semple Stadium, where the Cork fans completely outnumbered Tipp, and Tipp kind of just seemed to be on the floor. But it's just an incredible turnaround, and I know the players mentioned it a lot, but I was actually at that game, the minor All-Ireland against Kilkenny in Nolan Park. It was the same evening Galway beat Dublin here, but it was a special kind of an evening, and it just seems like everything has turned since then for Tipperary, and just an incredible turnaround.
There's so much to talk about. Liam Cahill, I have to give him a mention. Some people, I'd say, in Tipperary didn't want him maybe even as manager for 2025. Now he's the first and the only manager ever in the history of the game to manage All-Ireland winning minor, under 20, under 21 and senior. And he's the leader of the ship, and the ship was crumbling and, facing into an iceberg last year, and he has turned it around sensationally.
Unbelievably, yeah. I suppose it was just such a difficult year for them last year, and things didn't go right, but and he shipped a lot of criticism, didn't he? He was criticised about different things, but he kept his belief and stuck with his beliefs, I suppose. And Tipperary, it's just an incredible achievement by him, I suppose. First of all, as you said, winning the minor, and I suppose a lot of these players were part of those groups, and that won the minor under 21. I'm thinking Brian O'Mara, Owen Connolly, Jake Morris. They were with him the whole way up along, and I suppose when he came from Waterford first, that was the dream for Tipperary people, that he'd win the senior All-Ireland with them then. It probably didn't seem like it was going to happen last year, but it's turned around so quickly, which makes it so sweet, I think.
We'll get to the game in just 1 second. One player that's not here today, and I don't know about you, but I was welling up even as Ronan Matter was talking. I don't know how he kept it together. An unbelievable All-Ireland winning speech, and he gave great mention to Dylan Quirk. And I haven't been in Croke Park when I've seen a noise like that and a sustained period of applause, and just so many people realising that's kind of what it's all about. And he said about him being in the dressing room with them and with them the whole way. It's amazing, really. It was an incredible moment.
It was, and just as he said it, the camera panned to Liam Cahill, and you could see him looking up to the sky, and he had tears rolling down his face himself, because having mentioned that under 21 and minor teams, Dylan Quirk was a brilliant player on many of those teams, and it's clear that he was a big part of the group. As Ronan said, there were lovely words, and I suppose he probably was a huge inspiration to a lot of the Tipperary players, and just a lovely moment, as you said. I'd say his family were probably here, and what a brilliant moment for them.
His sister was actually in the press area here, and
right.
You just see. That's what it's all about. That's why everybody picks up a hurling, you know what I mean?
It absolutely is, and I say it's a very, special day for them today to experience that. Yeah.
Just on the game, Niall, so much to talk about. Tipp set up with a sweeper. Liam Cahill said the week before, I think he hoodwinked us. He said Liam Cahill teams don't set up with a sweeper. He set up with a sweeper. Brian O'Mara played sweeper. I thought it was funny. Cork found it hard to get around him at times. He actually played, as I'm looking down here on the Hogan, he actually played almost as an extra wing back on the left wing, and they were very conscious to try and load that area up, and Cork kind of went to the other wing, but Cork played a lot of ball down on top of him, which was unusual. But there's no point in saying any different. Me and you both were inside at half time. Shane Barrett got a goal before half time for all the good work that Tipp had done. They were 116 to 13 points down going in at half time, and I don't think anybody could have predicted what came after that. Patrick Horgan missed a free at the very start of the second half to put Cork 7 up, and then I think it was Darragh Fitzgibbon maybe to hit the post. The ball actually nearly bounced over the line amazingly. And then Tipp just completely took over the game. Which is,
it was just unbelievable that way that it happened, that Tipperary just, I suppose, flew out of the blocks in the second half. As you said, Horgan missed that free, and from then, for the next 20 minutes really, Cork just weren't in the game. As you said, Brian O'Mara was very effective, I thought, in the first half. And Cork probably played a lot of ball down on him, and he was very good on the ball, set up a lot of attacks. Tipperary probably had a lot of wides in that first half, and you were kind of thinking, will this cost them? But they hung in, and then they had their purple patch in the second half, and you're thinking, like, when are Cork are going to come back eventually? They're going to come back, but Tipperary just stayed on top around the middle of the field. Lads like Willie Connors, I thought, was just
he was everywhere. He actually played wing back.
He was wing back.
If you told me that Willie Connors would play wing back and be as good as man of the match, like, you were nearly debating whether he started today, and he was phenomenal. He was everywhere.
He was everywhere, and he was, as you said, he was the one that dropped back to wing back with O'Mara sitting back as sweeper. He was marking Declan Dalton, and just got the better of that duel. There was a ball he won down in the second half, down by the Hill 16, and it just kind of epitomised him. He was bombing out of defence, won a late free, and I think Tipperary were probably just seemed like they won the majority of the breaks and were hounding all the loose balls. And I suppose lads like Michael Breen as well, he had an exceptional game marking Patrick Horgan.
He quelled Horgan, and do you know what he did as well? He broke the Cork supporters mob, because when Hoggy gets on the ball, Cork, it's kind of almost breeds oxygen into them, and he broke that as well.
He did. He won so many kind of balls were breaking around, and he'd get hurled to them and run out after them, and just showed his pace and his power, I suppose. And I mean, you could go through the Tipperary backs. Like, Ronan Maher had an unbelievable game, didn't he?
Yeah, well, like, we were wondering who's going to pick up Brian Hayes, and I would have had question marks whether if Hayes gets the ball in his hand, will Ronan be able to stick with him? Some of the catches are in the air. Honestly, if Hayes doesn't have the ball in his hand, that's half the battle sorted.
That's half the battle. It was like watching TJ Reid there, the way he just kind of plucked them out. You were wondering where the ball was, and Ronan Maher was already running out of defence with it, which was just, it was a brilliant performance, I suppose, a captain's performance by him. Robert Doyle beside him did a brilliant job. Connolly got an exceptional point here, but remember their tussles they had up along the sideline, like, he was trying to get on the front foot, which I suppose kind of as a corner back.
He got a point as well. Like, when you look at it, Rhys Shelley got a point from play, Robert Doyle got a point from play, Owen Connolly got a point from play. You have to talk about Darren McCarthy though. There's some question marks coming into the final, like, would he still be on the freeze? Would he start? He's been sent off twice this year. Like, everything he touched turned to goal. I think he ended up at 113. Ice in his veins for that penalty. We obviously have to talk about that big talking point as well. Owen Downey got his second yellow in the 54th minute, took down John McGrath going through. John McGrath made an unbelievable catch. Before that, John McGrath's goal in the 46th minute. Like, it's just so calm. It's like the whole thing, it was like in slow motion, wasn't it? He just waited till he got his break and he put it away then.
How many lads would have just pulled on that? I definitely would.
He's just so cool there as well, and just on John McGrath as well. His goal in the 60th minute, where Damien Cahalane, who had come on to mark him after Owen Downey went off, he'd lost him, and McGrath just got inside. His eyes were razor-like on the ball. The ball was 100 yards away from him one stage, and he flicked it into the net. It was unbelievable. Darren McCarthy kind of played out in a looser kind of a role. Everything he touched seemed to go over the bar into the back of the net, or to someone else's hand and over the bar.
Yeah, I don't think he missed a free all day. Obviously scored the penalty, got some brilliant points. There was one here he got in the first half where he took it inside and just showed his composure around on the Cusack stand side. It was exceptional. A 19-year-old, as you said, who like has had probably a roller coaster summer. Like despite playing brilliantly, just had the 2 red cards, and as I said, there was a lot of pressure on him. And even as he's hitting the frees, a lot of people talk about his routine, and you're wondering, is the Cork crowd, the boos getting on his, for the first 3 frees, like there was a lot of noise as he was lining them up, taking his time, but he just nailed them straight over the bar. And I suppose then by the second half, when he was nailing, the boos were gone, because the Cork crowd were they were shell-shocked at that stage as well, weren't they?
We have to talk about it as well. As good as Tipp were, it takes 2 to tango, or it takes 2 not to tango. Like, this was brilliance from Tipperary, but it was probably an almighty collapse from Cork as well. Haven't won in 20 years, and geez, I don't know about you, but after today and the nature of the defeat, this is a hard one to come back from now, like, because they were well and truly beaten.
They really were. Like, to score 2 points, as we said, in the second half.
It's amazing, when you think about it. Like, they scored 116 in the first half. They were playing predominantly with, they had obviously Tipp played with a bit of a sweeper, but they got a few shots away. I'm looking at even the second half. Shane Barrett off the post, Darren Fitzgibbon off the post, Seamus Hardy off the crossbar when they were looking for a goal.
Missed the penalty.
Yeah, like, Jesus. It's amazing to think they only put 2 points together in the second half.
It really is, and I suppose you look like Dermot Healy. I was sitting beside Dermot Crowe here, and he's doing the player ratings, and we were talking about Dermot Healy at half time. Is he on course for man of the match? Shane Barrett as well. Now, he was their only player to score in the second half. He got a brilliant point, but Healy was having a brilliant game, was giving Owen Connolly like lots of it in the first half, but then was taken off, couldn't get into the game. I thought Darren Fitzgibbon, he was probably, I thought, one of their better players in the second half. He never stopped trying, but there was a ball he got on the Hogan stand side here and just ran down, and it was just like a lad running down a blind alley, and it was like they were kind of running out of ideas. And I suppose you mentioned the red card. Like, once Owen Downey was gone, the game was over. Whether John McGrath gave him a little nudge before, as that high ball came in, it was probably
RBS.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. I suppose he kind of had I don't know what you'd call it, but he got away with it anyway. I don't know, did Liam Gordon see it, but from there the game was gone, and Cork, they were just, their heads were scrambled, weren't they? Like, there was a goal chance down here, and Connolly and Hayes, we've seen them all year, Michael, burying them, and it just, he flicked, and I think it was Connolly to Hayes, and the ball just went out to the sideline, and you're thinking, like, it was gone from them at that stage.
By the end of it, you're thinking like a switchboard, and someone just pulled out all the plugs, and they were all in different areas, and Cork didn't know what they were looking at. Just even looking at their second half, took till the 47 minutes for Shane Barrett to get their first point. At that stage, they were 2 points down, amazingly, having been 6 points up. And then if you look at the second point, we have to go all the way to the 66th minute. Seamus Hardy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
It will be a tough one from them to recover from, Michael, as you said. I know, like, obviously last year they lost the final and they got back on track lovely this year, winning the league, winning Munster, and I suppose it was a similar sort of day to that day in the Gaelic grounds, wasn't it, where things just got away from them. And I suppose, like, that's just it's a real sickener for Cork fans, and it'll be a tough one to bounce back from, as you said.
Quick one, who's your man of the match?
Darren McCarthy. I think just everything he touched, as you said, turned to gold, never missed a free. Thought he was so composed the whole way through the game. Some of the points he got, I'm not sure how many he got from play now.
Do you know what as well, like, he got some great scores when he needed scores.
When he needed them, and I suppose the game was won at this stage, but the first touch he took to set up Noel McGrath for that last point, like, it was just a man who was on fire, really. He was exceptional. There's probably a lot of lads who pushed him hard, but I definitely give it to him. What about yourself?
I'd probably give it to Willie Connors. I thought Darren McCarthy was unbelievable. John McGrath, unbelievable too. But you can always talk about an unexpected player in the All-Ireland final. If you told me that Willie Connors would be as good as he was today, like, I don't know if he put a foot wrong, to be honest with you. I'm even thinking about a moment there in the first half when a score was badly needed. 22nd minute, you're 9-6 down. Willie Connors makes a dashing run underneath the Cusack. Rhys Shelley puts it onto him, and he goes running and puts it over. But that's all from us here. We're looking out at a lot of very happy Tipp people here, and it's been threatening all year But make no bones about it, Tipp are well and truly back.